G'day, welcome back to My RC Coach. Today we're going to have a look at the Training Buddy. Quickly explain what this is and why I've included it. This is a method of formalizing your practice sessions or training sessions, which is exactly what the pros tend to do during their training sessions and test sessions. They take a formal approach. So what they will do is uh, get a reference point for where their car's at when they go to a training session. They'll do some laps. Um, then they will come back, make some changes. They'll record what those changes are, and then they'll go back out on track and run for 3 or 5 laps or whatever it may be, and get a feel for what the changes actually did to their car. How did it affect their lap times? How did it affect the handling or the feeling of the car? And like I say, they formalise that, so they will then put that in writing. And usually the pros at the end of a training session will then send that information back to their sponsors or team managers or whoever it may be, so that they get feedback on what happened during that training session and what the results were from any changes made. And that's how manufacturers of all types improve their products, is feedback from generally from the pros that they support. So let's have a quick look at this. How it works, if you click on that, it gives you a little bit of a brief overview of what you're doing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a training session. So when you go to the track for a practice day, you will set up a training session. And then every time you make a tuning adjustment to your car, you'll log that adjustment against this training session. And then you can go and run some laps and record what the results were. And then at the end of all of that, if you wish to, you can generate a report. That might be for your own benefit, or it may be if you have sponsors that you want to provide some feedback to, or a team manager, etc. Then we can do all of that. So we'll quickly run down this list here. So you see I've got a couple of training sessions against this account, tyres testing session and a shakedown. I'm going to create a new session, and we're just going to call this demonstration, and we'll select a car. When you select a car, it's going to bring up every car that's in your fleet. I'll select the B6.4 just to keep things consistent with the other videos. And current setup sheet, again, this is pulled from your saved setup sheets against the particular car within your fleet. I'll select the base setup. The rest of this information is not necessary, so it's only the information with an asterisk beside it that you need to enter. The rest of it is up to you whether you wish to enter it or not. The more information you provide here, the more you're going to get out of this, but it's completely up to you. I'm going to put a track name in here of Chargers RC. That's the local track to where I live. And today is dry, and let's say it is sunny, and it is probably only about 19 degrees outside. Now here we can select, we can enter some baseline information. So prior to making any changes, what is our fastest lap time, top 3 average lap time, top 5 average, or it could be accumulated lap times, so it doesn't have to be averages. You can put whatever you like in there. If you want, you can put down your results from your last 5-minute run or 10-minute run. Yeah, this information will be useful later on if you are recording lap times, and you don't have to. I'm going to for this purpose. So let's say I'm getting a 26.32 is my fastest lap time. I'm going to create a session. If we scroll down the list here, we can see we've got our demonstration session added. When I click on that, I can now see I'm now inside my demonstration session. I haven't made any adjustments yet, and obviously there's no results because there's no adjustments. So let's make an adjustment. So let's say I wish to increase the steering a little bit on this car. So I'm going to change the front springs. You can put a brief description in here of what you're going to do if you wish. It's not really necessary, but again, the more information you put in, the better. So I want to increase steering. And currently got orange springs on the car, and I'm going to throw some red springs on there. Add some notes if you wish to. Now, if you like, you can add another adjustment here as well. I'm going to do that just for purposes of demonstrating this. Let's say for the front shocks, I want to lower the shock oil as well. So I was at 575, and I'm going to take that down to 550. I work in CST. If you work in weight, that's perfectly fine. Add some notes there if you wish, and you can continue adding adjustments as you go. Not really a great idea to add to change lots of things on a car without testing it. So I'm going to make 2 changes here, and then I'm going to go out and test it. Now, I don't have to include a result just now. I can save this information, then go out on track and see how things performed, and then report on that afterwards. If I have my phone open beside me up on the driver's stand, then maybe I want to put the results in there, or perhaps I forgot to set this up before I went out and tested things, and I want to enter it all at once. Long story short, you can enter your results straight away or not, and I'm just going to save that. All right, so those adjustments are now set up against this training session. So this is adjustment number 1, and we made 2 changes. Next thing you want to do is head out on track and see what effect those adjustments had to the performance of your car. And once you've done that, we want to then record the results. So let's go and add a result. Result type, there's a few different ways we can deal with this. We can either put down a difference in time if you did record some lap times or 5-minute run times or whatever it was during the setup of your session. Or we can select the handling, so we can say that there was a difference in the steering response, for example, or we can say just driver feeling. So some options there. I'm going to say time for this one. You do need to here related to adjustment. So you do need to tell the system which adjustment this result relates to. We've only made 1 adjustment that we made 2 changes against, so we'll select that one. So it brings up our fastest lap time during the session setup was 26.32 seconds. We're going to say it is 26.31 seconds now as lap time. And you can see there that it's given us a 1/100th of a second improvement on the lap time. You can put some additional notes there if you wish to. I'm going to add that. So there we go. There's our result, 100ths of a second faster. If I go back to the overview, we can now see that we have a result against the setup adjustments and that it's faster. Now I'm just going to add a second adjustment here, just so we can see the full effect. And let's say the center differential we want to change. So lower diff oil. Sorry, this is a rear-wheel drive car, so rear diff. And let's go from what's in there now, 7,000. We'll take that to 6,000. Minor change. We'll add the adjustment. I'm not going to add a second one here. I'm just going to leave it as the first one. And I'm not going to include the result there. We'll do that as save the adjustment and then go back out on track, and then we'll add a result. I'm mostly doing this so that I can show you the difference in, say they got a little bit worse, in selecting which adjustment this relates to. So adjustment number 1 was where we made both changes. Adjustment number 2 is where we just changed the diff. So that's the one I'm selecting here. That's what this result relates to. And by doing that, when I go to my overview here, you can see your adjustments, you can see the results. And then if we go back to the overview of the training buddy, so here's all of our test sessions. I can add that to the report and generate a report. This gives you a brief overview of what you're about to generate. Download that report. comes up in your print options. If you're on a mobile device, it may show you print options. It may show you another method of sharing these results. It kind of depends on how your device works. If I close that, you can see a little bit of a zoomed view of what we're giving here. So this is just pure data. It does give the full information of what happened during my test session, the changes that I made and what the results were for each one of those changes. And that's information that your sponsors or team managers may want from you. So there we go. Now I'm just going to show you quickly what it looks like when we add lots of information to that report. Generate report, download. So you see here we have test session 1's a demonstration, the information we just added. This is test session 2. This was the tyre testing, and there was a third session which was a shakedown. So again, and the more information you add, the more it gets included in this report. Now again, that report is, not everyone's going to use it. If you do have sponsors, they will love seeing it. If you have a team manager, they will love seeing that report from you. If you're a privateer and just operating on your own, then maybe that report is not useful for you at all, but it's there if you need it. So there we go. That's the Training Buddy. I think this is a useful thing. I do use it myself. Some of the other guys who have signed up already are using this. I do have intentions in the future of incorporating all of the users' test data in such a way that if you are intending to make a change to your car, so say like with my test earlier where I wanted to change the front springs, what I'd like to do is gather all the data from everybody's training sessions and come up with a result similar to, if we're going to change the front springs, 80% of other users found this to be a beneficial result. So nothing super detailed, but just a little bit of an overview of, okay, other people who have made a similar change for the same car in similar conditions, how has it affected them? What were their results? You won't be able to see particular users, so it'll be completely anonymous, and it'll just be an aggregate of how many people have made that change, and how many of those people found it to be a useful change. I think that might be a useful thing to add later on, but that's something we'll look at down the track. So anyway, there we are. That's the Training Buddy. The next video is going to be parts management. This one is a little bit more complicated, and I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to record that, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All right. We'll see you in the next one.